The time I farted out my entire class. Ever had a moment so embarrassing, you thought you'd never live it down? Here's my hilarious story about clearing out an entire classroom with just one fart. Normally, I'm posting past stories about my evil mother and formerly entitled sister. But after doing that for so long, it's starting to burn me out. So I thought I'd tell a funny story from my past for a change. Back when I was a teenager, some foods gave me really bad gas, especially spicy foods. It also didn't help that I really liked certain spicy foods. This was back when I was 17 and driving my first car to school. I think it was a Monday because I remember it being the first day of school for the week. The night before, I dined on some pizza covered with hot peppers. And I had eggs for breakfast. It didn't help that I also liked energy drinks back then too. I guess all of that combined in my gut made me a walking bomb waiting to go off. I was in one of the afternoon periods, either the last or second to last period of the day. I think it was English class. The teacher there was a cranky old man in his 60s who wasn't fond of me. Though he didn't do anything like singling me out or marking my scores lower, he just didn't like me. Fair enough, because I didn't like him either. Nobody actually seemed to like him though. As a teacher, he was good at his job, but he was pretty gruff. A lot of us joked that he was just waiting to retire. We were in the middle of silent reading, and the class was dead quiet. So when I suddenly farted, it was pretty loud and may as well have echoed since it was quiet enough to hear a pin drop. Right after I'd ripped my ass, everyone in the room turned to look at me all at once. The students closest to me started gagging and getting up from their desks. And then the smell worked its way to the teacher. He started coughing and saying his eyes were watering before running over to the windows to open them. I was really embarrassed and just wanted to be invisible. So I raised my hand and asked if I could be excused to the bathroom. The teacher just pointed without even looking at me because his head was out the window and said, "Go." I asked for a hall pass since one was required. He had to go back to his desk to get one for me while holding his breath because he was so anal that he kept them in a locked drawer. And it didn't help that right as I got up, I ripped another one. I can remember someone near me said, "Oh, come on." The teacher threw me the hall pass and told me not to come back until my ass was empty before running back to the window. As I headed to the bathroom, I let out a couple more rancid farts in the hall. One of them ripped ass while walking by a classroom with an open door. Still don't know what their reaction was, but I hope they closed that door fast. I went to the bathroom and stank it up. A couple of guys walked in to take a leak while I was in the stall and left as soon as they could because of the smell. By the time I came back, the class was nearly over. I got a lot of dirty looks. But after class, a lot of other students came to me and said it was the funniest thing they'd seen in a while. Because after I left, the teacher refused to come away from the window until the smell in the room died down. When school was over, I got into my car to go to my part-time job working for my dad. Then I farted again. Being in a closed car with my own gas made me gag, and my eyes were burning like I just cut into some fresh onions. I had to roll down all of the windows and drive to work that way. I warned my dad about my gas, and he told me if I even felt like a fart was coming, to just run outside. He was well aware of how bad my gas could be. I did end up having to run outside a couple of times. One of the employees was outside on break around the back of the building and smoking a cigarette when I ran outside and ripped ass. He was downwind of it too. But he just laughed and said, "Damn boy, did something crawl in your ass and die?" I could only look awkward and say it was the spicy food I'd eaten the night before. He just kept laughing and said he was a country boy, and he and his brothers did that sort of thing all the time as kids. This wasn't the only day I had this kind of gas. But I earned the nickname, the farter, for a few months. It's one of the times that sticks out in my memory the most. And sometimes I do laugh when thinking about what it'd be like if my mother had been there too. My farts were the bane of her if she happened to be nearby when I had gas like that. Though admittedly, I think one of the reasons I liked spicy foods so much then was because she hated them.